Good morning and welcome to our webinar this morning, Social Media Part 2, an introduction to 5 free essential tools to help your business. In this session today, we'll be introducing you to 5 tools that can really help improve your social media, engage and build your follower and customer base across the following areas, from taking a look at your audience and creating a persona to them, to generating content ideas, creating great posts and running some analysis afterwards. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Charlie Sanchez, Digital Marketing Consultant at Dunk Inc., Break's chosen social media agency. He'll be hosting this session today. Just to let you know, this session was pre-recorded due to social distancing, but Charlie will be available at the end to answer any questions that you might have. And there's also some really helpful resources to download and take away, such as a customer audience profile tool, an editorial calendar, as well as a performance measurement cheat sheet and Charlie's contact details to help you if you have any questions after the session. This is the last of our virtual Summer Food Festival webinars, but you can go back and watch this one and all of the others from the event page on breaks.co.uk, or you can also see them on YouTube. So do go back and watch them. There's some fantastic sessions on Natasha's Law, latest trends, minimising food waste and more. And finally, if you do have any questions in the session today, please feel free to ask them using the Q&A function in your Zoom bar. Without further ado, we'll get started. We really hope you enjoy today. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to this second social media webinar, where we're going to be looking at some free tools to help you get the most out of social media without increasing your cost or your time investment. So we're going to look at 5 basic tools today. We're going to look at a simple tool that we can use to help refine our audience and help us have that audience first mindset that we discussed in the first webinar. Secondly, we're going to look at a free tool that helps us come up with some content ideas. Then we're going to look at a posting tool to increase the efficiency with which we post on social media, to take some of the repetitive work out of it. Then we're going to look at a design tool that will help us develop some engaging creatives and graphics to accompany our posts. And then finally, we'll look at some listening tools, primarily to look at competitors, but also understand what other people are talking about, so we can make sure that the content that we are sharing on social media is relevant and interesting. The first thing I'd like to take you through today is a persona template for marketing. You may be familiar with these already, but I think they are a very effective way of getting under the skin of your audience, understanding what makes them tick, what are their challenges, what are their wants, and what are their objections, what are the problem areas that your product can help resolve. I believe there are 6 key areas in a process such as this. The first one is simply establishing the qualifier. Why are they your audience? It could be something as broad as their age and gender. From a B2B perspective, it could be something like which sector they are working in or their job title. Or it could be based on their lead status. So maybe you want to run a campaign targeting previous customers. Their status as a prior customer is the qualifying factor in that instance. Then we move on to more holistic elements of our audience. So what they want, what are their goals and ambitions, what are they working towards? If you're talking to a B2B perspective, what are their business objectives for that year? Then we look at the challenges. So what keeps them up at night? What are the things that are making it difficult for them to achieve their goals? That could be personal things such as authority. Maybe they don't have the decisions to the decision-making power to affect the change that they want to. Maybe it's resources, budget, headcount, whatever it might be. Potentially from a B2C perspective, it could be more macro. So it could be lockdown conditions preventing me from traveling or going to hotels or restaurants or whatever it might be. But those are the challenges that your audience face. Then we look at behaviors. So what are their habits? Who do they influence and who influences them? What kind of products do they use and what communication channels do they use? And hopefully you can see that as we start to add this information in, we are starting to get a broader, more thorough understanding of our audience and potentially lines of communication that we can use and the kind of messages that we can use. Moving on to objections. These are the reasons that might be given that your product or service isn't a good fit for them. So it could be related to cost, it's out of budget, maybe they simply don't have time to implement your solution, or maybe they can't get a food delivery from you on time. Or it could be they're using a competitor product or a competitor solution. Maybe they just simply aren't aware of the issue, and that could be down to laziness, or they are busy fighting fires and more urgent things. And lastly is the secret sauce, which is taking what we know about their challenges and their objections, so what they're struggling with and reasons they wouldn't use your product. How can we talk to them in terms of benefits? So everything we know about them, what is therefore the key to unlocking value for them? And that could be, for example, if they struggled with understanding, that was one of their key challenges, maybe support or training might be a key benefit that we do. Maybe if time and resources and budget are effective, maybe we could look at things like value add or quality, so that you can reassure people that you get what you pay for, and that in terms of lifetime value, your product or solution is the best. In addition to that, I wanted to share with you this new customer template. So this is a persona template in PDF that I have prepared, and what I've done is I've filled it out with an example here, and then also added a blank one with text fields that you can fill in to suit your needs. So you can go in and create your own template should you wish. My email is on here as well, so if you have any trouble, please just get in touch and I'm happy to help. But you can see here that you could print off a couple of these or save a different couple of versions of this, and then identify 2 or 3 different audiences, and then start to fill these out. What are their qualifying factors? What are their behaviors? What are they trying to achieve? What's stopping them? What's stopping them from purchasing your product? And then how can we address those objections by driving home what the key benefits are? So this is the first tool that I wanted to share with you, and I know that Fran is going to circulate this, so you will have access to it. But the marketing persona template is a great free tool that you can use to better understand and put the audience at the center of your marketing activity. The second tool I wanted to show you is a content idea generator that will help you understand or help you develop ideas to attract your audience. So if you filled out your audience template, you might have a clear idea of what the topics and subject matter that's going to be of interest to your audience are. Now the time comes to start developing content ideas. You may have some existing ideas based on your sales team or your previous marketing efforts. You might know what resonates and what doesn't. But in terms of generating specific content ideas, there's a really great tool called Answer the Public that I think might be useful to you. So the website is answerthepublic.com. It's very simple, and what it is it helps aggregate raw search data, and what that means is when you go and search for something on Google, you may be familiar with, as you start typing the words out, maybe Google comes up with some suggestions. So if you type in "where is the," it might say moon or European Union headquarters, whatever it might be. What this does is it actually aggregates all of those searches and will spit out for you common searches. So, for example, what we'll see here is we'll just follow this example, what it recommends, chocolate. And we'll do a quick search. And so what it will do is it will go away and find all of the most popular search terms that involve chocolate. And what it will do is it will group them into ideas, and those could be questions. So you can see here we've got 80 questions. There are prepositions, and then comparisons, and then a whole bunch of alphabetical lists. But what we'll do is we'll quickly look at some of these, and I think it will be quite easy for you to understand how you might be able to implement this for your own business. So we've just put in chocolate, and it's generated 80 questions, and you can see here that it's used question words: are, who, why, will, when, can, where, which, and grouped all of the search terms around chocolate around these questions. So for example, just quickly looking at how chocolate is made for kids, or how chocolate is made step by step. Under why do we have chocolate eggs at Easter? Why chocolate makes you happy? Can chocolate okay, I won't read that one. Or can chocolate go off? Etc. So hopefully you can see that maybe if you are working on some chocolate for your menu development or something like that, and you want to have chocolate related content, it might give you some inspiration for how you can maybe tweak some of these ideas and implement them so that they're more relevant for your business. Moving on to prepositions. Obviously we've got prepositions with, near, for, to, without. So again, these are popular terms. So chocolate without cocoa butter, chocolate with popping candy, things like that. So these might give you, again, more ideas and inspiration for how you can take your topic and based on what people are searching for, create content that is going to resonate and be in demand. Next, I want to talk about Google Analytics, which is a free tool provided by Google that you can put onto your website, which will help you measure and analyze visitor behavior. So primarily this could be used to look at something as simple as how many visits you get, or how many page views, how long people stay, or what the bounce rate is. But they also give you some more detailed information on things like demographics. So where in the world people are coming from, for example, what kind of device that they're using, and lots of other information. So what I'll do is I'll quickly jump into a demo data for Google Analytics that you can see here, and what I won't do is give you a complete breakdown of Google Analytics, because there are plenty of other platforms much more qualified than me that can give you that, including Google Analytics himself. But really what I wanted to show you were just some of the top line pieces of information that Google Analytics can give you, and as you'll see there's lots here. So what language people speak, their country and their city, all the way down to what the browser and operating system might be. The reason you might want to know that is, for example, let's say you had an app for your business or your product, and you were looking at your website data. Maybe you might see that of your mobile visits, okay, this one is split 50-50, but maybe you had 80% Apple phones or iOS visits. That might tell you that actually you maybe want to focus on your Apple app much more so than your Android app. But what the most important thing that I think that you could glean from Google Analytics is user behavior. So that's on this left-hand menu here, user behavior. And what this will do is it will tell you what your most popular pages are, and that will go a long way to telling you and informing you which pieces of content are the most popular. And that could be content in the form of blogs, but it could also be content in the form of different services or different products that you provide. So if you get something like this on your website, it's really important to have a look and understand which are the most visited pages, because that will give you information about what your audience is most interested in, and again that can reinforce that content production engine so that you are providing more and more information on the things that the data is showing you are most in demand. Moving on to scheduling, I want to introduce you to a tool called Buffer. Some of you may be familiar with it. It's similar to other tools such as Hootsuite or Sprout. And the idea behind scheduling up your social media is that it allows you to condense the time that you're focusing on your social media into one place. So rather than having to log on every day or twice a week or whatever it might be, you can actually dedicate some time, an hour on a Monday, and write out your posts for the week and have them go out at certain times over the course of the week so that you can get busy running your business. So just to quickly show you what Buffer looks like, buffer.com, what I've done is I've logged in here and I've attached 2 social media profiles, my Twitter account and my LinkedIn. You can add channels from lots of different platforms. So if we connect a new channel, you can see it supports Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and Shopify. On the free plan, I think there's a limit of 4, but obviously you can upgrade to more should you need. And then quite simply, once you've written your content that you have got from Answer the Public and you've got it ready to share, you simply come here and you click at the top here, what would you like to share? And then here's your message for your content, and you can just simply select up here whether you want to put it on Twitter or LinkedIn or both in this instance. And what it will allow you to do is it will allow you to adjust your message depending on which platform it might be. So if you want to tag somebody on Twitter, you might say at Google or whoever it might be. You might want to tag someone in it, and that obviously would not be appropriate for LinkedIn. But what it would allow you to do is generate multiple social media posts all at the same time. Then you can click and upload your image or video if you've generated one, and then obviously a link would be good to include in your message. And what you do is you put in your link, and then what it will do is it will generate a buffer link, and all that means is that it will show up like this, but you can choose to unshorten it should you wish. If you put in a link properly, what the tool will do is it will actually visit the link that you have added, and then it will pull out any images from that website. So if you are linking to a news article on BBC, let's have a go, bbc.co.uk, it will hopefully pull through. Yeah, so here are all the pictures on the BBC website this morning, and so you could, if you just click on that, what it will do is it will then use this image on your social media post. You can obviously choose not to do that, and you can click here and upload your own, and then you're good to go. You can either add it to a queue, which I'll show you in a second. You can share it right now, or you can schedule it so that it goes out at a specific time. And so a quick note on the queue, which is essentially a predetermined schedule that you establish. So for example, what we have here is the default is set up to post 4 times a day, which is probably too much. But what you can do is essentially add things, keep adding them to your queue, and then what it will do is it will just stick it at the front of this queue, so it will go out at 1:47 p.m. today. So this will be a great thing for you to do for evergreen content. So maybe some content that you've got around your products or services that isn't particularly time sensitive, but you want something going out a couple of times a week or something like that. What you can do is you can add it to the queue. If there is something specific happening, like I don't know, you're having a promotion around a football event, the Euro 2020, and you wanted something to go out at a specific time, congratulations to England for winning. We may as well be hopeful. What we could do is we could schedule this to go out, I don't know when the final is, but let's just say that day, and then you can schedule that to go out on the day of the final, something like that, and then that will go out and that will be scheduled. So let's just quickly remove that, otherwise that will go out, and that's basically everything that's useful for Buffer. It has other tools, for example, collaborating with your team, so you could send it off to other people to approve and review, but that's all paid. I think for basic social media presence, just getting a few channels up and running with content, the free version should be everything that you need. Next up, I want to show you a fantastic design tool called Canva that you'll find yourself, if you're like me, using for more and more things. So, as well as messages and content for social media, one of the most important things is visuals, whether those are animations or static imagery. It can be really difficult to help your content stand out. So using a tool like Canva is a great way of doing that. So let's just jump in and I'll quickly give you an introduction. So the website is canva.com. Signing up is free. There is a premium version, but the free one should have almost everything you need. So once you've logged in, you'll see here that we've got loads and loads of different templates to work from, and this is one of the strengths of Canva. Whether you are making a party invitation or a business card, whatever it might be, they've got lots and lots of templates. But what we'll do is we'll jump straight to the social media section, and you can see here that we've got existing templates for everything from an Instagram post to Instagram video story, Facebook cover images, TikTok videos, and you name it. So what we'll do is we'll just do something really simple, such as an Instagram post. So we'll click that, and what you'll see is it will essentially have a blank page. So I'm going to skip the tour and just quickly show you, and what we'll see here is that we've got lots and lots of templates to search from. So what we might do is we might say an event. What it will do is it will go away and return all of the templates that are based on events. So you might see things that are, I don't know, Halloween related or Christmas related, or save the dates and all that sort of stuff. So lots and lots of different things here that could be relevant to your business, obviously depending what you do. Maybe have a look at restaurant. So you can see here that we've got 50% off deals and all sorts of things like that. So what we'll do is we'll quickly have a look at, this is a pro one, apologies. We'll make something from scratch actually. The templates are fantastic and are great for you to use, and you can see how easy it would be to simply click a button. It would generate the post, and then you can come in here and change all of the text as you wish. But what we'll do is we'll actually start from scratch, and that way we can be sure. If you're wondering why the language is in Italian, that is simply because I am in Italy at present. So we've got the templates. Then under elements, we've got lots of different elements to use. So we've got things like simple lines and shapes. We've got graphics. So, you know, whether it's coronavirus related or design or stickers and gradients and all that sort of stuff, we got lots and lots of things to use. So let's just say, I don't know, we'll quickly put in hotel. So you can see here lots of things that have been tagged up with a hotel, include everything from little icons that say hotel on them through to a picture of a hotel room, or even a little icon symbolizing a hotel. So lots and lots of things that we can use, and so we might want to drop something in like that, and then, I don't know, maybe you need some text. So you come in to the text on the left, and you'll see here that you can either just add some text, or again, there are lots and lots of existing fonts that you can use, and typography matches. So we might want something like that. Maybe it's a little hard to see, so what we'll do is we will add an element. We'll simply add a box behind it, and we'll just send it back. And maybe we'll make that box, maybe this is our font, our brand color or something like that, and we can make our own 50% off weekend or something like that. November, obviously, not Novembre, and then my hotel London, or whatever it might be, www.myhotel.com, something like that. And so you can see how with just a click of a few buttons we have created an asset that we might want to use, and maybe we want to do some testing, so we'll do a 50% weekend, and then maybe we'll do a 25% weekend, and then we could publish those out at different times potentially and measure the performance or the level of engagement with each one. So it's a really easy, simple tool for you to create some social media graphics. You come here and you simply download. And you can download it as a PNG, or it could be something print quality PDF. And one last thing that I wanted to show you is we could potentially animate it. So again, videos and animations are really useful. And so what we could do is it has some ready-made animations. So we take something really simple that we've just made with text, and you just highlight block, and you can see it gives this cool swipe effect that will just help it stand out on social media, or a breathe where the whole thing, I don't know if you can see that, expands and contracts, making it just stand out a little bit more. And the final tool that I'd like to share with you today is Tweetdeck, which is an official part of the Twitter corporation. And what it will do is it will help you organize all the different information streams that you have coming through. So you might be tracking customers, you might be tracking industry press, you might be tracking competitors, and all of that information is going to be coming through jumbled up in chronological order or algorithmically arranged for you to view. What Tweetdeck will allow you to do is actually separate those out so that you can go back and look at the different content being shared by the different types of people that you are following. The simplest thing to do is to show you what this looks like in practice. So here we are logged in tweetdeck.twitter.com, and you can see here that we're logged in as Dunkink. And what you'll see is you end up with these streams. And so what we've got here is the home stream. So this is the Twitter feed that is what we would see if we logged into the Twitter app. Then we've got notifications, so people liking and retweeting and mentioning us. Then we've got our followers, so these are our most recent followers. And then mentions, so people talking to us. And so let's say, for example, we wanted to add some more information here. So we would click the plus on the left, and then we end up with the column that looks like this. And so what would be an easy thing for us to do is if we wanted to build a list of customers. So for example, we will click add a list, create a list, and we will say, or maybe not customers, maybe we will say chefs. Mark it as private, because otherwise people will be able to see the list that you've created. And then here under chefs, we can now start adding people to our list. So was one of these the real Tom Kerridge? Here's Chef Tom Kerridge, and then it will give you potentially other people that you might want to add. Gordon Ramsay. So Ramsay. So anyway, what you can do is you start building out your members of your list, and then you can click done. And then what you'll see here is your chef feed. So all of the chefs that you are following will appear here. Likewise, you could add a column and create a list for publications, so industry news like The Caterer or FEJ or whatever is relevant to you. And what that would allow you to do is essentially, instead of logging on to Twitter to see what's happening, you could simply log on to TweetDeck, and then at a glance you might see, for example, this is what's happening with chefs, and maybe we could have another list here, create a list, competitors. And we could say, for example, just breaks. And just add all of these, just for example. So that what you can do is you can build up almost like a home screen of monitoring that allows you to see what the people that you are following for various reasons are doing. So that's a really powerful way of doing that through lists. But you can also do a search. So for example, you could put a search in here. cronut, or another term, something like that. And then what would happen is it would turn up all of the content that cronut is mentioned. And there are ways that you can filter, for example, so you can have you can set minimum requirements. So I only really want to see really good content, so I want the things that you show me to have at least 5 retweets and at least 10 likes, and and that's that. You could say within location of London, for example, or I think you can set the language, yes, written in English. So now we're going to be we're going to be looking at people talking about cronuts in English that have really strong engagement. So, for example, This Is Rochester has been sharing something about the cronut. And so what you can do is, obviously, your products and services, what's relevant to you, you can set up these topic fields. But likewise, you could also do brand mentions. So let's say this was for Breaks food, people talking about Breaks food. If we just take all of these off, reset it, and in English you can see here lots of people talking about or using the words breaks and food. So, for example, here is somebody that has the word. It's not particularly relevant to us, but these are ways that you can search for people talking about your brand or talking about your type of product. So that's Tweetdeck. It's a free tool. You obviously need a Twitter account to access it. You can also publish to Twitter from here if you want to, but Buffer is also a great tool that allows you to post to Twitter and other platforms. But it's a really fantastic tool that gives you a lot of information all in one place, but separated by type or by topic. So yeah, that's Tweetdeck.
Thanks everybody. Thank you for watching that. We hope you found it really, really useful. We are just in the background getting that QR code up on screen so that you can download those fantastic resources that Charlie mentioned. In there you'll find an audience profiling tool, the little tool that Charlie shared in the session, an editorial calendar that you can use, a performance management cheat sheet, and as Charlie mentioned, and you will have seen, there's Charlie's contact details in there as well, should you want to get in touch directly. So do feel free to scan it now, or as I say, we'll be making this available as part of the finished edited version of this video by sort of the end of the week. Have a look on the website and it should be up there for you to be able to view and download. But without further ado, we'll go into some questions. We've got Charlie with us today. Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Hi, Fran. I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you so much for that fantastic session.
Oh, it was a pleasure.
Really, really good tips and tools in there, and a really good overview of some of the best features and how to get a lot out of them. So thanks so much. Just if I can ask a few questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course.
First one, does Ask the Public help you prioritise the strongest themes, or does it kind of display, I guess, everything that you can kind of look at and pick out the things that are relevant to you?
So at its fundamental level, it doesn't give you search volume along with those content ideas. That is just a visualization of all of the most popular ones. Yeah. That's at the free level. There are paid versions of Answer the Public that do give you more information. They allow you to, for example, plot search volume over time. So it might highlight things that are actually rapidly increasing in popularity that might allow you to jump onto a trend and create content early in a trend that would, I guess, give you the benefit of being an early mover and sort of more of an authority on it, as well as some other features that allow you to set up certain alerts if a certain term actually reaches a certain volume. So there might be a term that is really specific to your business. You could put that into Answer the Public, and then if the search volume for that term reaches a critical mass, Answer the Public will send you an alert and say enough people are now searching for this. It might now be worth making a new piece of content or a new landing page or a new campaign or something like that. So there are paid versions of almost all of these tools that I've been through. That do give you more features, more usability, and more insight. But at the basic level, Answer the Public doesn't give you, I guess, the underlying data in terms of how many searches are going into each one of those things.
Yeah, I realised I should have called it Answer the Public, not Ask the Public, actually. So
that's
thanks for that, Charlie, correcting that. We've had a question come through the Q&A. Thanks so much for that. What does paid Canva give you versus the free one? Is it worth paying the extra for it, the paid version?
In my humble opinion, it is definitely worth it. So the paid version gives you access to a lot of stock images, a lot of stock video, as well as some high quality graphics and things like that. You can purchase those on a case-by-case basis. So as you saw in the ad that we were making there, one of the things that we clicked happened to be a photo that was a premium one. You can buy that, and I think it's as cheap as $1 per asset. So if you are wanting to just make an ad and there's a really nice picture, but you don't want to subscribe, and I think it's maybe about £10 a month. If you don't want to subscribe just for that one image, you can buy it on an ad hoc basis. But I use Canva a lot, and so it's definitely worth it in my opinion. It gives you additional formats that you can save it into as well. So it will allow you to save it as an MP4 video instead of just a GIF animation. So depending on what you want to use it for, I think it's a really high value tool. I don't know if you're subscribed to any stock image websites like iStock or Getty or something like that. Those can be really, really expensive. And so actually a Canva subscription can be a really nice way of increasing your pool of available photography without paying, the really expensive stuff for Getty and Shutterstock and things like that. I didn't mention actually, but worth mentioning is that Canva is a really powerful tool when used in conjunction with some of the free stock sites. So free stock sites such as Unsplash or Pexels. Those have loads of graphics and photos and videos and things like that. Obviously, you can use those without any attribution, and so you can save those off to your computer and then upload them as your own images to Unsplash. To Canva, so that if you can't find any images within Canva that you like, you can obviously upload your own. And one final thing, I guess, maybe on Canva Pro, is that it allows you to upload a much stronger brand portfolio. So maybe your brand has strict fonts and colors and things like that. Upgrading to Pro would allow you to upload your own custom fonts to Canva for use on assets, and lots of little things that will help you customize your graphics so that they're just more personal to you. But I think as a free tool on the base level, Canva is really fantastic.
Yeah, no, thanks, Charlie. Going back to Answer the Public, do you think it's a good idea to use it in conjunction with other things like food trends? I know we kind of drew on chocolate as kind of an example to take people through, but I'm thinking it probably is quite good to actually be looking beyond, I guess, yourself as well, at what kind of industry trends are telling you, and kind of take all of this stuff on balance.
Absolutely. I think, we've all had those moments where you read an article about something that you weren't aware of, and then suddenly you start seeing it everywhere. I think that kind of goes to show how quickly ideas and content can spread online. And I think in those situations where maybe you've read something about a trend, whether it's a business model that's relevant to your business, or a food trend or something like that, and you're not sure, you feel like your business should create some content around it, you're struggling with perhaps anything really unique and individual to say, maybe you're still feeling your way out in terms of your stance on the trend, something like Answer the Public can be a great way to actually see what other people are looking for around that trend. So for example, we looked at cronuts or something on the listening. Maybe you want to know what people are saying about cronuts, or what people are searching for about cronuts, or whatever trend. And then maybe you can see, there are trends. Maybe people are looking for gluten-free cronuts, or gluten-free cronut recipes, or whatever. And there are little nuggets hidden there in amongst the popular searches that might reveal some intent, potentially, certain foods for certain audiences, or people, in care homes. Obviously, eating conditions and things like that are a major challenge. And so there could be things hidden within the searches that might reveal, demand for a certain type of content. And obviously, as a content creator, if you're creating content for your business, you want to be creating content that there's established demand for, that people are going to want to read or watch or download. And so Answer the Public is just one tool. There are others available, but it's just one tool that will help you find the demand for the content you're thinking about.
Yeah, and I guess as well, just spark some kind of menu ideas as well. If, for example, gluten-free cronuts seem to be kind of a bit of a top theme, once you kind of put that together with some other trend information as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think social media in particular, it is very closely tied with food. Social media trends, especially on Instagram, they're very closely related. So I know that social media does play a big part on influencing development chefs and product development and things like that. So I guess this is just another string to that bow of what are people sharing online, what are people searching for online, and how can we, adapt our product or our experience or our menu to reflect those trends. So I wouldn't necessarily do that solely on what comes up on Answer the Public, but if it feeds into what you're already thinking about as a business, then I think it kind of can help.
Yeah. Is there anywhere that people could go to learn a bit more about Google Analytics, Charlie? Is there anything, kind of any good resources available? You kind of mentioned there's a ton of stuff potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. And apologies for the brief fly through, but Google Analytics is such a huge beast that really, you could spend an entire session alone talking about it. The best thing I can recommend is the actual Google Analytics Academy, which is just analytics.google.com. And there are links through to the Academy. They have a Google Analytics for Beginners course. It's all free. Google Analytics Advanced course, Power User course, all sorts of stuff. So anything that you could possibly want to know about analytics and more, you can find there for free. And what I would suggest is even the beginner course is probably plenty for what most businesses are going to want to use. But the point really about Google Analytics was getting an understanding of how people are behaving on your website, what content are they viewing, and what content are they not interested in. And that will hopefully give you some more information about what content you can create in the future. So if you're posting blogs, a blog once a month, it is well worth the time, once a month, once a quarter, to just stop and go back and have a look at which are the blogs that have got the most views, which are the ones that are attracting the most visitors to your site. And then really you want to reproduce that and create more of those winners. And then if things didn't go down particularly well, you need to ask yourself why. Was the topic bad? Did it not get promoted enough? That sort of stuff. So Google Analytics really helps you kind of like lift the hood on your or the bonnet on your website.
Thanks, Charlie. We've had a question come through the chat just now. Images work so well on social to attract. What advice would you give for word count on any social ads? Is there an optimum sized font as well that attracts people? So I guess that's around the principles of photography and text, and how much text is too much. And
I think it really comes down to what you're trying to promote, and I know that's very unhelpful. But a social post, as a design basic, what you want to keep in mind is what they call information hierarchy. So you want the most important thing to be the biggest. So in that example of the graphic that we made, we used some template text. The 50% off was obviously the really big in the middle, because that's the kind of thing we want people to catch their eye on. And so you can include as much information as you like in it, but you just need to keep in mind, from the end user perspective, if you're burying, your really key information, like, I don't know, the time of your event or the location of your event or whatever it might be, in a big paragraph of text, chances are it's not going to get seen, or very few people will see it. So there aren't, strictly speaking, limits or recommendations on text officially. My preference is to keep it minimal. If we view a social media post as the bait at the end of a fishing rod, or end of a fishing line, and the idea is to just catch that bit of interest and then bring people back to a landing page to learn more or register or buy or whatever it might be, then that's really where you want to kind of go into the detail about what people can expect. If you think, going back to the first social webinar that we had, it really comes down to what your audience wants to hear. And they are maybe coming to social media, and there are a few trigger topics or phrases or incentives that they might really want, such as a discount or free training or buy one get one free or whatever it might be. Those are the kind of the hooks that you really want to get, because those are the things that they're going to pay attention to. And then once you've got them onto your website, you can talk to them a bit more about the things your business wants to talk about and how you can help, and your heritage and credibility as a business. I wouldn't necessarily try and shoehorn that in a social post or a social ad. There's a quote, I can't remember who it was. It was a famous engineer, it might have been Brunel or something like that, but it said, perfection is achieved not when there's nothing left to add, but when there's nothing left to take away. And I think that's something I try and keep in mind with my design and the content I create. Only leave what you need in there, because that will allow the most important stuff to get the most attention. So that's just maybe something to keep in mind. Strip back everything you can, and then put that on your landing page or on your broader website, just so that your social posts are punchy and impactful.
That's really good advice, Charlie, because it's so tempting, isn't it, to put everything in there that you think people will want to know. I think, just final question, does Buffer let you use kind of creative tools? So, for example, if you were doing an Instagram story using kind of layout and Canva, or is it sort of quite basic, whereby it's kind of an image and text? I'm guessing you could probably format something in Canva and import it in as a complete image, but I don't know, Charlie, what you think.
So yes, they integrate, but not in a direct way. So the way Canva works is Canva doesn't publish your creations at all. It allows you to essentially just save it to your computer. So what I do is I would go on to Canva, I would create my graphic, I would create, I don't know, 3 or 4 different versions of it. And then with Buffer open, I would drag those essentially into Buffer as my images, and then write my accompanying posts alongside them. So I don't believe they integrate directly, but yeah, they're very easy to use in conjunction with each other. And I think hopefully what I try to get across in these free tools is that there are free tools that we can use in social media marketing right the way across the spectrum, from ideation, which is, what am I making content about, answer the public, to, okay, now I need a graphic to represent that. Now I need to schedule it up and then send it out. And then at the end with Google Analytics, okay, now how do I measure that performance on my website? The traffic that has generated, what did it do? Did it do anything? Was it worthwhile? And I think that's kind of how I see the social media spectrum, from coming up with ideas, creating them in a hopefully an engaging way, publishing them, measuring them, adding a little bit of listening in, seeing what other people are talking about and things like that. And then you close that loop and then go back to ideation and coming up with ideas for your next batch of content. And there is support through free tools across that spectrum.
Yeah. Thanks, Charlie. It was such a good session. And like you say, real good overview of those 5 tools that you can use across that spectrum. So absolutely brilliant. I think that's the end of all of the questions today. So thank you so much for your time, and for all of the insight. That was just absolutely brilliant. And as I mentioned, this will be available afterwards for people to be able to watch. So you can download it, rewatch it, and save it down and watch again as much as you want.
Yeah, and my email obviously is on, I think, on all the assets that I provided. So if you have any questions or aren't sure how to get started, feel free to please send me an email, and I'm more than happy to help.
Thank you. Well, have a great rest of the day, everybody, and we hope to see you again soon.
Awesome.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.